Hello, everybody. We are back. E3 is here. Pre-rendered. I'm George Benitez, and with me I have Rico Gale.
Hello, hello.
And Wade Patrick Sheridan.
Hello, hi.
And here we have again with us is Lysander Ramos.
Lysander Salamander in the house.
Lysander, Salamander, Turtle Beach, coolest guy, MacArthur High.
It's just gonna get longer, dude.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
what I could say. It's
It's a lot to take
Definitely the
in.
word.
shots fired from. Oh man, it's just like this is crazy. We're gonna split this up into two parts. We're gonna kind of go through all the press conferences and a half with Nintendo. And
Womp womp.
and then we'll discuss all the third-party stuff in the second part. So I guess we should get right into this. What did you guys think of Xbox? Rico?
I think Xbox did exactly what they needed to do. They were battling a lot of really negative PR, but like someone else mentioned that they got all their specs out of the way and they were kind of hurting, and what they needed was to bring games, and that's exactly what they did. Like back-to-back games. They had about 16 or something games like that they released in their press conference.
Close to 20, I think.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive spread. And even someone like me who's not really too particularly fond of that system, especially because it's primarily like a shooter and sports game system, which are not games that I'm fond of, and I was still blown away by a lot of their selections. They have a lot of amazing games coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. What about you, Wade?
Well, I want to start this off by saying I've been disappointed by E3 press conferences for the past couple of years. The last ones I really enjoyed were from 06, 07. So when we go in to watch this Microsoft press conference and just the way it was so refreshing. I thought finally one of these guys got it right. This is how you do a press conference. Me personally, I don't care about none of the bullshit. I don't care about none of the apps you're getting. I don't care about none of the functions your system does outside of the games. And I really respect Microsoft for saying here's games, and here's games, and here's games, and every game was literally.
They didn't even give us time to think on
Yeah,
reflect on the
yeah.
game. It was just here's another one.
Or get the
It's like, forget about all
developers-
that stuff. Here's another one.
Yeah, and the developers weren't even on stage that long to talk about it. It was here's Metal Gear Solid 5, here's Kojima, bye Kojima, here's the next game. It was really quick and fast, and I love that. And they got in so many games, and just I liked a lot of it. I liked a ton of it, way more than I thought I was. Microsoft and I think in general with this E3, Microsoft and Sony almost seem to switch places in how they do their press conference, because this Microsoft conference was like the older Sony ones where it was exclusive. We've got exclusives. So it was really awesome.
I think all Sony's press conferences have been around the way, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, go ahead.
So first off, Metal Gear Solid 5 started off this thing. Set the whole tone. I felt no, this shit is gonna get real and this is gonna be games. Metal Gear Solid 5 might be my favorite trailer of the whole show, if only because I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. But that was
That's
amazing.
definitely it.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But everything else they showed, I liked. In this game, a lot of people is not even reporting on, but I liked Max and Curse of the Brotherhood. I don't know if everyone remembers that. It was like a platformer.
Yeah. There's the freaking Jimmy Neutron hair. Yeah, I remember.
Was intrigued by it, but then if you go on any gaming site, it's not
It was completely under the
I forgot about that game.
Yeah, it's because they were throwing so many games at us, we couldn't remember every.
Yeah.
I still don't remember half those games.
So that game, Dead Rising 3 with that comeback, I never gave a shit about Dead Rising, but Dead Rising 3 to me looks amazing. Yeah. And as George pointed out to me, that's exclusive to Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great exclusive.
And it's also coming out release day one.
Yeah. If I was getting the Xbox One on launch, my first game would probably be Dead Rising 3.
All right. What about you, Lysander?
I honestly, I'm with Rico and Wade. That whole games upon games, they didn't even give themselves time to breathe. That was just amazing. I love every second of it.
Yeah, I remember we were watching it together, and you're just like, "Oh my god!"
My biggest take was I don't think I was ready for graphics. I don't think my body was ready for Quantum Break. Quantum Break.
Sick.
it looks ridiculous. Apparently, there was an interview, and the guy was saying that that was all in engine, and I was like, I can't handle those graphics. So I'm mostly excited for the graphics that the Xbox conference started off with. It started off with a bang. It started off with Metal Gear. It went on to Rise. It went on to Quantum Break. It was just like good game after good game after good game, and they didn't stop. And then they had the big announcement of KI, Killer Instinct, which is like a big whoa. And again, last episode I said I wanted Banjo, but I'll take Killer Instinct. I'll see what they got, what they got to offer, what they got to bring. I wasn't too hyped for Killer Instinct, but who knows? Maybe they could do it right. Apparently it's being done by Double Helix, who doesn't even have like that good of a track record, so people are kind of yeah. So that's why I was kind of like about it, but we'll see what they bring. And a big thing that I'm not really into shooters, and just like Rico, they ended it off with Titanfall, and that looks immaculate. That looks like outrageous. Like, I'm excited for a shooter for the first time since Modern Warfare 1. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so Xbox did good. Games upon games upon games. They said screw racks on racks on racks. It's games on games on games, all right?
Yeah, and exclusive games on top of it.
Yeah, exclusive games on exclusive games.
Got a lot of
I think those awesome press conferences. I mean, I think it was probably the most entertaining out of all of them.
Three, easily.
Out of the three, easily.
Yeah.
I think they definitely made a mistake in not addressing the whole issues that they're having like right now. With the whole DRM, and I think they're missing the point. They need to kind of explain why we need all this shit that they're throwing at us. Correct. They're trying to shove down our throat, and it's the messaging is really bad. That what they're doing, it's like they're not explaining to us why do we need DRM. Why did you include that? Why don't tell me why it's the publisher's choice, but tell me why it's the publisher's choice. Why is it $100 more than the PS4? What am I getting with that? Explain to me what features am I getting when it's always online. You know what I'm saying? This is what I was thinking about the entire time. I was just like, this is why, Sony, in everybody's eyes, they won. Like, they didn't show shit at their thing. I mean, of course, we're getting into Sony. We'll move on. But, they said what they needed to say. They said what the people wanted to hear, and they went apeshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, in Microsoft's defense, and I remember I was watching, the through GT or whatever, and the guy from Naughty Dog was defending it, and he was mentioning, he's like, he was explaining that there's a circle of money, and the circle keeps getting broken when used games come into play, about the whole DRM and all that shit. And it's like, there's got to be a better way there's a solution, and he pointed to Steam. It's like, you can have these games online, you don't have to, you can't give it to anybody, it's bound to you, but they sell it for cheaper. There's a lot more deals and stuff, and people are completely satisfied
and
with
the
service.
Access it at any time.
And anytime, anywhere, yeah. People are satisfied with that service, and that's essentially how Microsoft has to take it. But they're kind of going the arrogant,
Yep, they're being bullies.
It's like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about what it does. Just fucking take it, and.
On that note, I feel
issue.
like the games on game was intentionally designed for that purpose.
Yeah, they're
was
trying
to be like, oh shit,
you. Yeah.
Yeah, how about we just?
Issue.
It's like, hey guys, look at all this pretty stuff in the meantime, and by God, there was tons and tons of pretty shit.
But guess what? It worked. It shut people up. Like, people were like,
but it still didn't work though, because then Sony went up, 12 hours later, and then now everybody's saying Sony won. I mean,
we'll see.
I think it's kind of
Maybe
ridiculous to say that, to say Sony has won the war already before it even started, because these systems still haven't released yet.
Yeah, sales at the end, the sales is going to determine everything on that day one launch, man.
I don't think it's going to be day one. It's not the first million. It's the first 30 million. Who does it go to?
It's true.
There's an interview with Phil Spencer, which is this is the VP at Microsoft, and they're interviewing him, and like, oh, are you guys gonna address all the DRM and all the online requirements and the Connect and all that crap, like in a more strict, more straightforward way? And he's like, it's still early. The system comes out in November. He's like, there's still other things like Gamescom and TGS and all that coming out, before the system. So
Right.
they're saying we're gonna just address games today, and then as we get closer to other conventions, we'll have more announcements and more things going on.
Drifting
I
away.
guess one
Give us-
thing. One
Okay.
thing my bad. One thing we forgot to mention is they on the stage they showed that the Xbox One comes with a Twitch TV, which is like a big huge thing for,
Right.
I was gonna say fighting game people, but just anybody in general. It's pretty
Anybody
awesome.
who likes to stream.
Stream, yeah, you get the Xbox comes with integrated Twitch, so you got streaming capabilities on there. One thing I don't think they explained too well is how the whole switching of like games, like mid game, you could go from one game to another. That's the only issue I would say. I wish they would have backed up, explained a little more.
I think it's completely unnecessary in my opinion. The whole switching games, like how long does it take to find a match in a fighting game?
No, I mean it doesn't take long, but it was just a cool feature because like she was they were demoing it, and they had someone playing Rise, and then mid Rise she got an invite to Killer Instinct, and she just went
okay.
from Rise to Killer Instinct in like a second. I was like, that was seamless. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, imagine like in an MMO, it can work with anything. Imagine if like you're playing a single player game, and then like let's say you're playing Halo 5, and then someone invites you to like a raid in another game, Destiny or something. And you're like, oh, okay, hold on. You just go bloop, and now you're in the raid all of a sudden.
I don't think it's going to be that quick. No, I think it would probably bring you to the menu, and then you got to do everything else. But I don't know. You got to consider the actual how the game works and how it's going to be implemented, because that's a huge thing. If you're automatically there with them, the game starts. You're midway through the raid or whatever. That's a.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want like a deeper explanation.
I think yeah, that's too much. I think.
No, that is godlike features.
Yeah,
but
that's
we'll see
like,
what happens.
That's too much. So letter grades. Wade, what do you think?
Easily, I give it an A. Like I said,
A.
it was the E3 conference I always wanted.
Wow.
Someone finally got it right. This is how
Wow.
it's supposed to go.
Xbox One and A. All right.
In terms of a conference, whoa. I'm not giving the console an
No,
A. I'm giving the
saying,
conference an A.
conference, yeah. In regards to the conference, yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Rico, what do you think?
I would give it a B minus. I liked what they brought to the table. I thought it was excellent, but as you mentioned, they did neglect all the issues, and it pretty much looked like a smoke screen. So I can't give them a perfect score for not addressing the major issues. So I'm gonna give them a B minus because it was pretty.
Lysander?
I'll give it a K out of 10 for kick ass. Because I don't know, it was just kick ass. Yeah, they had some flaws, but overall it was pretty kick ass. Everything about it was good. I enjoyed it visually. The whole time I was excited for everything, and everything that they just on the next thing was exciting. The next thing was exciting. The next thing was exciting.
It was probably the most overall exciting conference.
Yeah.
Oh. And I'll follow Rico. I'll give it a B minus. I think they showed a lot of games, a lot of entertaining games. But they missed the key issues that people are trying to figure out, and they're still trying to, and it's now a big PR night storm.
But now, see, to me, if they had done that, that would have killed all the momentum we had, which is games.
That's true. It's very
games.
true. It's very true. Yeah, I agree. But that's still a huge thing that needs to be addressed, one way or another, because
All right, let's move on from Xbox and let's talk about PlayStation or Sony. They pretty much killed it at the end, I think, I would say, with their little, no use game or whatever. We can play used games.
Yeah, no DRM. You
No
can play
DRM.
used games, and they undercut Microsoft by $100.
But let's talk about the conference as a whole. In my opinion, maybe I'm crazy. I thought it was rather boring.
No, that's normal.
Okay.
That is the correct answer.
I'm
Yes.
just like listening. I'm listening to all these journalists and saying like, "Oh yeah, Sony gets an A. They're 10 out of 10. That was the best thing." And I'm like, did they not see the first hour?
If they're referring to the ending, then yes, but everything else
No,
as a
but
whole,
they're
no.
referring to it as a whole. I'm like, it's like
Yeah.
I understand they knocked it out of the park by doing absolutely nothing, but you know,
Well, what does that say about what Microsoft's doing? Is that Sony was boring, and then that one thing made them seem like they won E3 instantly.
well,
I should just show how bad people are reacting to Xbox One and their online policy.
Pretty
Right.
much, they said like we're gonna do everything Xbox, like we're gonna fix everything Xbox did wrong. Pretty much, and that was
No,
a pretty
I don't
bold
think-
statement.
I don't think they're fixing anything. They're just keeping it the same way. Like
Yeah,
they're not changing anything. It's they're just
And my friend brought up a really, really good point. Sony's always been sort of ahead of the piracy curve by staying ahead of the technology. And so because Sony has Blu-ray, they're naturally they don't need to put all the extra DRM because you can't pirate Sony games as easily as you would be able to a disc-based game, like say by something like Microsoft. So that's another reason why I would assume Microsoft would think that it's okay for them to put in such stringent DRMs on their games and things like that.
right. Yeah, but piracy, that's you can't really say that they're ahead of it now because now everything's Blu-ray and
That's true.
our computers now are going to start coming with Blu-ray drives built in, the burners and all that stuff. It's just it's
That's true, but it's
starting
still
to
not
catch-
cheap
it's-
enough to be viable to pirate on a regular basis because
Uh,
Blu-ray players are still around over $100 easily, and the CDs are not like as cheap. I mean, the Blu-ray discs themselves are not as cheap as regular CDs.
True, but it's only a matter of time that they're gonna it's gonna start happening. If anything, I would say Microsoft is now taking the leap ahead against piracy by aiming more to their thoughts towards digital. But aside from all this discussion, because we're getting off topic, but let's just focus more on the
The
conference itself. They didn't announce much. I think as for games, we just saw a small montage of the games that they showed at their earlier press conference or their reveal, which was Killzone,
Drive Club,
Knack, Drive
Infamous.
Club,
A
and
couple of their indie titles.
Those are all new, yeah, the indie titles.
And
the one big announcement they had was The Order by Naughty Dog, I believe, right?
I like
No,
that.
no. Ready at Dawn.
Yeah, Ready at Dawn.
Ready at Dawn. Yeah, I think that was pretty much the only new
IP.
Like new
IP
one.
that was under them. I mean, they also announced, of course, they showed Final Fantasy 15, formerly versus X12-ness. I thought that was a stupid title to begin with. I'm like, why aren't they just calling this Final Fantasy 15 from the beginning? Because there was
Yeah, it
no
was very
connection.
confusing.
That was a huge thing that bothered me. It was like when they announced Final Fantasy versus 13 way back when, it was like there was no connection to Final Fantasy 13 at all. So why are they calling it that?
Well, the whole connection is the Final Fantasy. They had the Fabula Novus Crystallis, whatever, which is like a
Wow.
epic trilogy thing they were gonna do, where they were gonna have Final Fantasy 13.
the Final C, the VC, and
Yeah,
the we
they
see.
had Final Fantasy 13. They had Versus 13, and then they had Final Fantasy 13 Agito, which was supposed to be the PSP one. But pretty much that whole thing flopped, and they rebranded the PSP one. And then they rebranded Versus to 15.
Yeah, I remember.
But it was
of
all like
this.
one whole thing. It was like, oh, we're gonna release a whole bunch of games together, and they're all gonna be 13. And
Lightning returns. Anyways, but I mean, I know a lot of people were excited about those announcements, about the 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. I personally didn't go too crazy. Maybe because I saw like the leaks ahead of time, like saying like, oh, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be announced, and Final
they
Fantasy
had a
15.
couple
They
of
had like
posters.
posters and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Maybe because I'm no longer interested in Kingdom Hearts anymore, because it's all those games that came out on the other systems. It's like I'm not gonna buy all these systems just to find out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
I think you say that, but like I brought up to you, George, if there's some crazy worlds in there, you're gonna be interested, I think. And we talked about how
I'm
Disney.
pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, if the game looks fun and like the freaking what was it, the 15, the other trailer that they showed,
The
look,
gameplay.
yeah, looked bananas. But again, I'm holding back because I'm kind of scared that they might be pulling
Yeah, because
But,
to
hey,
be honest,
we might be maybe using a little smoke and mirrors, little stuff,
because they've had gameplay for Versus 13 before, and I remember at least 2 years ago they released about a 2 minute long trailer
Right.
for the same thing. I mean, now this one shows a lot more new things, and the battle system looks ridiculous.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the
Sweet!
game looks amazing.
the seamless transition of the monsters, how you can move around the battlefield. Oh, it looked great, man.
And
The behemoth.
and the freaking
Sword teleportation is the coolest power
Yeah.
ever.
And there was an
It's like
Iron Giant. You guys
Spider-Man,
remember
but
that shit?
uses sword shooters.
There was a lot of nice subtle things going on too, like the interaction between the party members. I thought was awesome. Like they seemed
that
like
was beautiful.
friends, you
Okay.
know, and they're like celebrating and high fiving and stuff. It was awesome.
We can talk about that more later. Let's go back to Sony. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I mean, it was like 15 minutes. Let's go back to the conference. It was 15, 20 minutes late. They started with again a montage, and it was like a montage of all their games. I really
waste.
really cannot stand their montages. They're kind of like, all right,
So
we get
boring.
it. You have Last of Us. Move on. And then they showed a Last of Us trailer. The game was coming out like 2 days afterwards. Like I don't understand what they were doing. And then they were showing, what was the other games they showed for the PS3 that nobody cared?
There's a Beyond Two Souls trailer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Another Beyond Two
Drive
Souls.
Club?
No, Drive
Oh,
Club.
no.
No, they showed that afterwards. And then it's like, again, they didn't show.
There was a lame Batman DLC costume.
Adam
thing.
West is not lame.
You are correct, sir. But
it was kind of
like,
to watch.
but like taking 10 minutes out of the conference to talk about it. Come on.
No,
It's like,
I know.
what I
know.
wanted them to do was, as soon as that montage was over, I wanted to see the PS4 on that stage and not freaking build up. Like it wasn't building up. It was they were losing momentum.
Mm-hmm.
For every minute they did not show that system, and it just kept going down. And the only thing that really brought them back up was their announcements at the end, which saying we're not changing.
And they were so
Yeah,
awesome.
Sony
that-
was very, very lucky. Xbox did all the groundwork for them, and really all they had to do was
set the
just show up.
foundation. It's just like
All they had to do was just show up and be like,
yeah.
"This is our system," and everybody's like, "Yes, we love you," and they just didn't do anything.
Our standards have been brought down so low that even
Just by showing
absolutely
up.
nothing makes us go apeshit crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the one thing you have to give to Sony, as far as like kind of shocker that I didn't really expect, was the pricing. That was very, very unexpected. The fact that it's only going to be $3.99, and I think the people in Europe get screwed because it's it's also $3.99 in Europe as well.
yeah.
Yep.
The pound. I don't think it's pounds. It's
Euro.
euros. And for pounds, I think it's
It's
it?
$4.29 for pounds.
Ah, okay.
Um,
But yeah, that extra $100, man, it's gonna be really good for the competition.
right.
One thing it took me a while to realize is $3.99 is $50 more than the Wii U. That is outrageous. Like
Yeah.
I would not see like anybody. I don't see a reason why you would purchase a Wii U when for $50 more you can get next gen PS4. Like that's a really
Yeah.
bad thing. So Nintendo should have, even though it's kind of early, they should definitely announce like some type of price drop beforehand.
The $3.99 PS4, like even though that's the first time announcing their price, that seemed like the only price cut of the whole thing. I went into this E3 thinking, oh, all types of systems are going to get price cut. None of them did,
None of
but
them.
then luckily PlayStation 4 came out at a good price.
Right. Definitely. And I think that's a huge major. I mean, the DRM, of course, a lot of people care about that, but I guess to me, that's what's making me like conflict on which system I'm going to purchase first. Of course, I'm probably not going to buy these at release because I don't think either of them have a strong enough
title. Mhm.
launch.
Bad Dead Rising 3.
Oh yeah, if anything, I would say Xbox has a stronger launch thing, and I mean, at least to me, the games that interest me are on there, like Killer Instinct, which looks awesome. But yeah, I feel like the launch titles on the 360 are probably a bit
Was Killer
better.
Instinct announced as a launch?
It is
Yeah,
announced
it's
as
a
a
day
launch.
one.
It's a day one, yeah.
I could agree with that statement then.
I feel like they have slightly. I mean, it's not by much. Again,
Yeah.
most of the games that are going to be good are the third-party games,
Mhm.
and they're coming on both systems. So that's it's about the same. But as for exclusives, I feel like Xbox has more stronger titles. But so I mean, just as a whole, what did you guys think? If you had to give it a grade or a number, or I don't know, whatever you wanna, and you can explain why. Wade, go ahead.
Everyone knows me as the Sony fanboy, and I love Sony, but this conference was probably one of the worst E3 conferences I've ever seen them do in a while. It was just very boring. It was very dry. There was a guy that came on stage to talk about Sony picture interrogation
Yeah, I
that
forgot
made
about
no
that.
content and experiences in TV,
Content,
and I didn't
content.
know what he was doing up
We're
there.
gonna make more Sony game
Um,
movies.
the PS3 stuff is fine to me, but it went on for too long.
Agreed.
And in general, I felt like I said about the Microsoft one, that Sony and Microsoft kind of switched places, and Sony was doing stuff that Microsoft used to do in their press conferences that I used to hate, which
Yeah.
was just, hey, here's third party and here's lame DLC attached to it, and here's more third party and more lame DLC attached to it, and I don't really care about any of that stuff. The only highlight was the Final Fantasy 15 reveal and the price cut and the no DRM, and that's it. So without that announcement, I would have gave this a D. With the announcement, I gave it a C minus.
That's
Well,
fair. What about you, Rico? What did you think?
I would give the Sony press conference probably like a B minus. They were late. They took forever to get going. They didn't really have any momentum. And from a lot of the games that they release, it's stuff that we already knew about or stuff that we already heard about, with the exception of a couple different titles. But they did go ahead and put out stuff that I'm very much looking forward to. I'm very excited for Final Fantasy, very excited for Kingdom Hearts,
Right.
and
And Destiny, you can't forget about like the Destiny showing.
yes,
In my opinion, I
that
thought
was
it was
really
really
cool.
good.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that one too. I'd like to see more gameplay on that because I like to see how much non-shooting goes on, because I like that the chick that was
It
shooting
seems
that
like-
purple crap.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like a Borderlands type of game, like it same concept as Borderlands, but
Yeah.
it's more open for people. It's like Borderlands MMO style almost, kind of, sort of. But
Can't go wrong with that.
you can.
Yeah.
That's only good things. Only good things can happen. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all good. But Sony ended strong with their a couple little announcements at the end. They saved a lot of their best videos for last as well. So they started off weak and ended out pretty decently. So I'd give them like a B minus.
B minus. And what about you, Lysander?
I'm going to go with a C minus actually.
Oof, brutal.
Rough.
No, the conference was extremely boring. They didn't really show anything new, but they did make some smart decisions. They announced that the indie publishers could be self-published, which is a huge deal.
Right.
Yes, I've got to mention that.
They also have the system is region free, which I think is awesome because I like to buy me some, Japanese games every once in a while.
Right.
So they didn't show too many games, so the game aspect was bad, but they made smart decisions. They did announce that the PS4 is going to have a cross-game chat, which is it's kind of like a no-brainer, but they didn't have it on the PS3.
Yeah, that was a huge issue that I had with my it's like, oh yeah, I love playing online with my Sony because I don't hear anybody. There's no communication whatsoever. It's like I'm playing a single player game.
And
But,
the $399 price, so like they didn't show games, so that's a huge no-no. That's where they lose all their points pretty much. But on like a company standard or system standard, they ranked pretty high. They got a good price. They got good features. PS Plus is going to come with Drive Club. It's going to be region free. It's just the system overall is looking like it's going to be a really good system. And I actually like the form factor. It's got a nice shape, and they're saying that it's extremely small, surprisingly.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think like through the pictures, it looks smaller than it really was. Because I remember they had it on the stage, or like that little the screen thing that curved around the stage, that big thing, and they made it look so small in those things, and you can see him holding it in his hands. I'm like, this is definitely thicker than what you're showing on that screen right there.
It might be thicker, but I know for a fact
It's got some girth.
it's smaller than the Xbox One, which is
of course,
humongous.
definitely.
So C minus overall.
C minus.
Oh, let us not forget to add that what Lysandra was saying about the PlayStation Plus, that it is mandatory for the PlayStation 4
Yes,
to
multiplayer
play
games.
online, and they slipped that in there.
Yeah, they definitely slipped it in there between the claps and the cheers. It was like,
Yeah.
you gotta pay for it, but it's only $3.99.
Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to bring up as a complaint is PlayStation Vita. PlayStation Vita got like a slideshow video, and that was it. And I think that's pretty bad.
I think I'm honestly thinking that they're abandoning hope with that. I was hoping for a price cut, or maybe some type of,
No,
anything.
They should have done a price cut. That
Should have
would
done a
been
price
huge
cut.
deal.
But yeah, I mean, I think I would give it maybe a C. I'll give it a flat C. The announcements were great, but aside from that, it was rather not entertaining. It's like we waited 2 hours for them to tell us.
Yeah.
Literally, they literally told us nothing. We waited 2 hours
The
for
price.
a price. Yeah,
Yep.
that's all we got out of that. But I would say when it comes to the consoles themselves, I would say admittedly, I'm looking more towards PS4 as my first next gen console than I am an Xbox. Then again,
Yeah.
the games dates and stuff will be the deciding factor. When I see the
Definitely.
reviews come in and when I see those games actually being able to play them and all that stuff, that'll change. But
Yeah. What's
as of right
crazy
now,
to
due to
me-
the price, is that's a huge thing. That's $100 less is.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is I feel like we're all giving it like average scores, yet I feel like we would all be in agreement that we would rather buy that day one than Xbox One.
Right. I'm not gonna buy either of them day
Well-
one, but I'm thinking that I might buy. I know I'm buying an Xbox One. That's a fact. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. But the PS4 again, I'm buying that too, but it's a matter of when. And it looks like it's gonna be before the Xbox One.
We all enjoyed the PS4, but this is an overall grading over the conference. The conference itself was a very lackluster, boring conference. They didn't bring
Yeah.
what they needed to bring, which was the games. Like I stated earlier, the only new IP they had, I believe, was The Order.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
that's
and
where the
well,
issue-
that and then the two Square games.
Well,
Oh,
that's
yes.
not exclusive though.
True, but they still announced their new.
Okay, new
Confirmed,
reveal.
essentially.
I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah, well, not really confirmed, but yeah, revealed.
But yeah, I mean, and speaking about price cuts, let's move on to our little friend in the corner that's doing whatever he's doing.
Wah!
Yeah, that guy.
Oh
let's
yeah.
let's
Oh
get-
yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about.
But what do you mean
Nintendo.
talking about price cuts? They don't have no price cuts.
The
That's
price
his
cuts they
play-
should have
They
announced.
should have
The
announced.
Wii U.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk about them. First off, not many people were able to watch their.
Yep.
Rex,
Me and
because it
Lysander
was-
included.
The internet was pretty terrible.
2 servers. No.
Yeah, it's like. And, okay, let's continue.
Nintendo.
So yeah, we couldn't see anything. Like I remember I was trying to watch for the trailer for Super Smash Brothers, and it like cut through halfway, and then the next thing that came up was another game, or it just stopped. I was like, oh, that was a good reveal because I didn't see anything. But yeah, they didn't announce a price drop. The games were a little. I mean, aside from Smash Brothers, I mean, Smash Brothers looked great, and I know a lot of people were excited about that.
Whoop whoop.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but the new Mario game does not look that good, in my opinion.
Cats.
The cat suits.
Nintendo Cats.
Nintendo cat.
Super
worlds
Mario
collide?
Nintendo Cats 3D.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like the DS game, the 3DS game, excuse me. They showed a little bit more of X, whatever that game was, the Xenoblade, whatever that game is.
Can't even describe it.
I can't. It had mechs. It had monsters. It was like freaking Monster Hunter with Gundams, and I had no idea what was going on. It looked cool, but I had no idea what the heck that was. Excuse me.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart again. There's another
And then Retro's big announcement, Donkey Kong Country.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow, son, unanimous disappointment. What's with all the anti Donkey Kong?
No, everybody likes Donkey Kong, but Retro Studios gonna have Retro Studio has a big surprise for this year's E3, a sequel to a game that is like, all right,
No.
no one really cared for. Like that, Donkey Kong Country was a good game, but it wasn't like a huge, moneymaker. It wasn't a big deal. So that was their big surprise. No Star Fox, no Metroid, no.
Yeah, the studio's pedigree definitely makes you think like they're really gonna do something better than that, and you know that they're capable than better than that, and that's why it's disappointing.
Right.
Anyone else could have done Donkey Kong Country again. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I just feel like a lot of these announcements, none of them were, like they were
Hard hitting.
pushing the, advancing their series in any way, shape,
Well,
or form.
I was gonna say, George, advancing and Wii and Nintendo don't really go along.
But I'm thinking, like for Mario, we've seen Mario 64, and then it went to Mario Sunshine, which was, it was a lot different than 64. I mean, it was generally the same. But then you go to Galaxy, and Galaxy is such a huge jump. And, you're thinking with this new system, they're going to make a new jump as well. And they just went the safe route and went with Mario 3D Land. But now you can play with friends.
And cats.
And cats.
Pretty
Don't
much,
forget-
they didn't do what Nintendo's known for. Nintendo's known for innovation, and instead of reimagining their key franchises, they just went strictly with sequels.
Right.
They went with a Mario sequel, a Donkey Kong sequel, Mario Kart sequel. I mean, it was sequel city.
We'll generally see these sequels no matter what. But again, it's just like, you would expect something more out of them. I don't know.
I mean, I'm on the flip side of all this though. I don't necessarily always keep my ear to the ground when it comes to Nintendo stuff. So some of the stuff I saw, I don't know if it's been shown before, but it was new to me. Like the Wonderful 101. That game looks. Well, to me, it was new, and I was like, that game looks awesome. And X, I was like, that game looks awesome.
Not
and then
new either.
well, see, to me, though, it was new and, like, really cool to see. And then everything else that they showed, all their Nintendo-made games, although some of them were, like, disappointing or, like, why are they going this way? They all looked solid to me. They all looked good. And to me, that overall made me think, like, this is, like, a good collection of games they're showing, and I felt like I could at least enjoy or have fun.
Do you
with
feel
each
like
of
this
them.
is going to sell the system? Because...
No, but I thought that beforehand. I don't think Smash Brothers and Mario Kart are gonna save the day like people think it is. Wii U is like the new GameCube in terms of sales, and I feel like that's just what it's gonna be. Now, these games though could still be great and fun, and I think everything they showed in one way or another, I saw myself enjoying. Like I think that's the difference from when I watched the Sony one, where there was quite a few games that I absolutely didn't care about like at all.
Right. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think any of us are,
We're not doubting the sales.
we're not doubting the game or the games are going to be bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure all these, the Mario games, I'm pretty sure they're all going to be solid titles. It's just like it's nothing to be excited for. You understand?
Yeah, I guess there wasn't like that surprise.
There wasn't that boom, hey,
Yeah, there
killer
was like
instinct in your face. And you're like, ah.
They played
Like
it
that one
extra
guy.
safe.
But yeah,
Mega Man was a nice surprise in Smash Bros.
oh, definitely. I mean, again,
Very much
Smash
love
Brothers was the exception to the rule.
Yeah, that stole the show pretty much.
Um,
The show they didn't have, but it stole
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and it wasn't playable, so
Yeah.
so a lot of people were upset about that too.
Oh, it wasn't playable at their booth?
It definitely wasn't.
Wow.
The people were playing it. The developers or whatever, they had like the couple of those guys, like the creators, and they were playing it in front of everybody, and then
wow.
they pulled it away later. So.
Yep.
But you guys can play Donkey Kong though. Have fun. But
I also want to point out that the Nintendo Direct, besides the internet issues and not everyone being able to watch it at the same time, my goodness, is it awkward. I mean, oh my gosh, they need to get Reggie to do these things and not Iwata. Is that his name? Iwata?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. First of all,
how do you like this?
yeah.
Bayonetta hair is shorter.
Yeah, yeah.
Among-
af-
was shown. I forgot.
After every new reveal or game trailer, he has to then explain what you guys just watched, and it's like so stupid. Like, shut up! I know what I saw. I know Bayonetta has different hair. Don't explain it to me.
Notice, her hair is cut.
Yeah, this brings about new gameplay experience. Whatever.
You're racist, Wade.
And well, yeah, because when Wade does it, it's racist suddenly. But also the fact, like the way where they filmed it in an empty office building, and then made sure to point that out to you. They're like, "We are here in an empty office." Like, all right, man, cool, thanks. I didn't have to know any of this.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it from
Nintendo.
Nintendo, because I don't think we have any more.
Well, what about our grades?
No, that's what I'm getting. Calm down, Wade. Calm down. Wade, would you like to tell us your grade? Oh yeah.
I give Nintendo a B minus. I thought all the games, like I said, enjoyable and looked solid, no surprises. But to me personally, there were games I had not even seen or heard of before, and they looked great to me.
So you're saying that the Nintendo gets a better grade than Sony?
Yes, because Nintendo had more interesting games to me than what Sony showed was a bunch of third-party stuff that I had already been beaten over the head about, or a bunch of third-party stuff I didn't care about.
Okay. All right. What about you, Rico?
I would give the illustrious Nintendo, I would give them a pity B. I did.
TV.
A B minus minus.
Yeah, it's kind of like a B minus. I think they were a little weak on a lot of stuff. We didn't get to see a lot of new innovation. Like you guys said, they have a lot of fantastic titles that they barely use. I know Lysandra brought up F-Zero. That's another franchise that they could bring up. They could also Metroid, all the potential with that. Star Fox, nothing. But I have to commend them because I really like the revival of Mega Man. Mega Man has been disrespected by Capcom, so it's nice to see him get some redemption.
I tried to sleep because of that.
It's nice to see him get a little bit of redemption in Smash Brothers. Plus, I like how they're doing it on the DS as well as the Wii U as well. So I like what they're doing with Smash, and even though I talk shit about the cats, that it does look kind of fun. I mean, I can't lie, it looks kind of interesting. So, so yes, it's cats and it's gimmicky, but it does look like it's entertaining, which is what Nintendo is known for. They're known to make games that people enjoy. So, I really wish they would have come out a little stronger because I don't think this is enough to save the Wii U and it's like spiraling sales. But at the same time, I did like a couple of the games that they brought up was strong enough to keep me. To keep my interest, so I'll give them that pity B minus.
All right. What about you, Lysander?
I'm going to go with a standard C. I guess C plus then. I'll swap it out to a C plus.
Pity
C,
C
yes,
plus.
It wasn't a C plus. Not that bad. The whole thing, they didn't bring anything new. They didn't really innovate in any way. But at the end of the day, all the games that they showed, at any point, we could all hang out. I can pop in some new Mario 3D Super Cat Land world, and we will all have a blast.
Yeah, and we'll all love it.
I could pop in some Mario Kart, and we'll all have a blast. Smash Brothers, we'll all have a blast. Donkey Kong, it's just
even that Wii Party.
Those are some just nostalgia games. Like,
But
no
wait.
matter what, those are all solid games.
Aside from Smash Brothers, say Smash Brothers wasn't announced this E3 or it's not coming out next year. Would any of these games make you go get a Wii U?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No.
Any of you guys?
Nope.
Do you agree?
No.
You won't buy a Wii U?
Well,
if
Smash Brothers is not
Smash
enough
Brothers
for me to
might
buy.
convince you. For me, it doesn't anymore. I've kind of retired Smash Brothers, but do you think you would buy it without the Smash Brothers?
No.
I wouldn't buy it.
No, they don't. I don't think the rest of their lineup would be strong enough to support the entire system. Unfortunately.
All right. We can't forget about what was that Link? The Link's the not Awakening, but the other one.
In Between Worlds, I believe.
Yeah, not that one. The other one. The one.
Oh, Wind Waker 2. Wind Waker
Waker
HD. I mean, my bad.
HD.
Windu Waku.
Yes.
they're remaking that game that everybody talked shit about back then, and now people think it's the
let
coolest
me
game
let
ever.
me let me tell you about Wind Waker, man. When that game first was announced and came out, I remember everyone hated it and bashed it, and now it's just the cool thing to love Wind Waker.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm like,
man.
man,
Where
all you
were
guys
you?
hated this.
Where were you when Nintendo needed you most?
Yes, seriously. Wind
Hipster
Waker's
Wade.
become like this hipster thing to like now. It's like cool to like Wind Waker.
Well, no, you're the hipster. You said you liked it before everybody else liked it.
I did like it. Same here. I loved it. And that was one
No,
of
Wind Waker was
one of the
amazing.
few games, Zelda games, that I actually played through completely and beat.
If
That
I remember
was-
correctly,
Oh.
all my Nintendo loving friends, they also love Wind Waker as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got a C or C plus, excuse me, pity C plus.
Yeah.
A lot of pity grades.
Yeah, these are a lot of.
It's because Nintendo's near and dear to us, man. They've been
yeah.
holding it down for generations, so we don't really want to see them go under.
We can have a whole episode on how I feel about that, what you just said. I'll go the pity route as well. I'll give them a C. I think they missed an opportunity with announcing a price drop. And I hope that they are going to do it before these big gorillas come out. Because if not, they're in trouble. And
Yeah, they'll get overshadowed real
They're
quick.
in trouble
their
right
own-
now.
Their
with-
own, yeah. I mean, their own gorilla is not going to save them. Friggin' Donkey Kong's not going to save them. I don't think Mario's going to save them. It's, yeah. It didn't save them back with the GameCube. Wink, wink, over at one of our loyal fans. But yeah, let's get into third party because we're running low on time.